Hi, in this video, I will be talking about the worksheet 1 of the chapter on ecology. Okay, so I will be talking about two questions. And so let's begin. Okay, so question 1, right, shows you a food web. I have already annotated the food web trophic levels for the second part of this question. Okay, but for the first question first, so this is something that is very straightforward. I have reminded you again, or I have advised you that you must study the description for producer, for consumer, and for decomposer. Okay, so regardless whether it's explained or described, right, you just have to write everything down. Okay, and even though it's 1 mark, right, it's up to your discretion. My advice is to write everything, of course, within the space. Okay, so for producer, right, he has the ability to make food, and this is like to me the easiest phrase ever. Okay, you need to elaborate this, and that is the reason why I'm talking about this. You need to continue by mentioning that it is able to it contains chlorophyll, and they can absorb light and convert into chemical energy, which is from the theory on photosynthesis. So just elaborate, and please write the process down. Okay, it doesn't hurt to write the process, and to me it is very important, I feel, to always write the process. All right. And lastly, right, you can always say that photosynthesis in this case, right, it produces glucose. I think it's important because for ecology, right, uh, the glucose is also part of the carbon cycle. So yeah, I think it is good enough to just talk about this 3 to 4 points. Okay. Now the more difficult part of this question, right, is in part B. Okay. So in part B, right, they ask you to calculate the total numbers of the organisms in the food web. And in order for you to do that, right, you need to figure out their trophic level. And so I've given you the trophic levels for the 6 organisms over here. And from here, right, you must figure out the total number in each trophic level, which is 74 for trophic level 2, for 10, trophic level 3, and finally, because it's only one organism, there are 2 of them. Okay, so 74, 10, and 2. Okay, trophic level 1, right, is already given to you as 1. So from the numbers of these 4 trophy levels, right? This question has it is the first time that you're doing that you are supposed to draw a pyramid of numbers on a grid. Okay. Now because the grid is given to you, uh, you have to fix a quantity to it. So it cannot be a sketch. It has to be something that is intentional. Okay. So by looking at the grid, right? By looking at the grid size, you have to try to draw a bigger pyramid. And so please don't draw a small one. Please try to use a big one. For me, right, I fix my width to 10 small squares. And I think it's good enough because you can see, right, that the width is the same for all trophy levels. And this is very important. Take a note at my number 1. Okay? The width must be the same for all rectangles. Alright? It is the length, right, that will change. It is the length that will change. And in this case, right, I use a scale of 1 small box to represent 2 units. So in trophic level 2, right, you have 74. Trophic level 3, you have 10. And trophic level 4, you have 2. Trophic level 1 is given to you and there is only one organism. Okay? So to accommodate trophy level 2, right, you can use 1 small box to represent 2 units. And so they are altogether 37 small squares. Okay, which actually I'm wrong, but never mind. You know that you should have 37 small squares because 37 times 2 is 74. I only give you 30. In this question, I only draw 35. Okay, which is wrong. I should draw 37. Okay, so yeah, there should be a 37 small squares, so it has to be until here. Okay, so yeah, I also make a careless mistake. So it's under here. For trophic 3, right, because it is 10 of them, there are only 5 small squares. For trophic 4, because it's 2, it is 1 square. And for trophic 1, right, it is half a square. Okay, this is 3 marks. It is actually very intentional. If you are not a careless person, you should be able to get this correct. Okay, but yeah, it's quite difficult, I think. And finally, right, please label, because many of you didn't label. Okay, in this case, because it's a consolidation of animals, you just need to label trophic 1, trophic 2, 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 and then that's it. Okay. Question 2 talks about energy. This is quite straightforward. 50 kilojoules, 5 kilojoules, and 0.5 kilojoules. Okay, or you can write 500 joules, up to you. Okay, but the units must be inside. Alright, these are the three things that is in the notes, and I have told you that you have to write them down. Try to be as elaborate as possible, so always give examples. Okay, you can see over here is examples. It's heat energy, and these are little advice that I nag all the time. Okay, so try to study this 3 ways in which energy is lost. And part C, okay, the green plant is a producer, and so this is the second time that you answer a producer question. I'm not going to repeat. It is 2 marks now. The 4 points that I shared with you earlier on, legit, okay, can be written down. Okay, now number 2, this is something that is a worrying. Okay, so the word source, right, refers to the object and not the radiation that comes out of it. So if you write sunlight, right, it is wrong. Okay, a source of energy for a food chain is the sun. The source of energy for the food chain is not sunlight. So please get this correct. And for many of you, you wrote sunlight, and so it is actually wrong. It is a very straightforward 1 mark. Okay, so sun, no sunlight, please. And finally, this is the one that I have explained to you in theory. Why do trophic levels not have too many? Why do food chains do not have? Why food chains do not have too many trophic levels? Okay, it is an energy question, and for energy question, I always advise that you must write 10% of energy is successfully transferred, 90% is lost. Okay, and give one example. And finally, a lot of you wrote not sustainable, correct? Yes, but you have to link it to very low amount of energy for the one at the top trophic level. Okay, so you cannot just write not sustainable and then full stop. You have to link sustainability, right, to the availability of energy in the food chain. So this is missing for many of you. Okay, but this one is your main culprit. Many of you don't write 10 and 90, and I already told you during theory that this 10 and 90, right, is like, it's a must to me. Okay, so this is the last part of the worksheet 1. Okay, I hope it helps. If you have questions, please come and look for me. Okay, thank you. Bye bye.